The city of Vitrina woke each morning to the sound of bells and the glint of sunlight striking 1,000 windows. From the high cliffs above the harbor, the old lighthouse scattered shards of dawn across tiled rooftops. Ships carrying rare minerals and exotic sands slid into the port like silent swans. In a small workshop tucked behind the marketplace lived 17-year-old Maris, daughter of the renowned glassmaker Alaric. Their family had shaped light into art for 3 generations. Bowls that caught the sun in shimmering patterns, goblets that rang like distant chimes, even mirrors so pure that nobles claimed they reflected the soul. But now the furnace in Alaric's shop burned lower each night. Demand for delicate art glass had waned. Merchants wanted sturdy panes for factories and warehouses, not fragile masterpieces. Alaric worked late into the dark hours, but worry hollowed the lines around his eyes. A mysterious commission. One evening, as the sea winds carried the scent of salt and rain, a cloaked stranger entered the shop. He moved with a quiet grace, his voice low and deliberate. "I need a lens," he said, placing a leather pouch heavy with silver on the counter. A single disc of flawless glass. Perfect curvature, no distortion. It must capture starlight and bend it to a single point. Alaric examined the man's strange star-etched signet ring, but asked no questions. "Such work takes months," he warned. "I will return with the next new moon." The stranger replied. His gaze lingered on Maris for a heartbeat before he vanished into the mist. Alaric lifted the pouch and felt its weight. Enough silver to keep the furnace burning for an entire year. The hidden craft. As days passed, Maris watched her father struggle with the order. Glass for windows could forgive small flaws. A stargazer's lens demanded perfection. Tiny bubbles marred the early attempts, each a failed universe. Late one night, Maris approached the furnace, heart racing. She had studied her father's techniques since childhood, memorizing the colors of molten sand. The exact moment when heat turned chaos into clarity. "Let me help," she said. Alaric hesitated, sweat gleaming on his brow. "This is dangerous work." "I know the danger," she answered, "but I also know the fire." Reluctantly, he nodded. Together, they worked in silence. Maris steadied the long blowpipe as her father shaped the glowing sphere. She sensed when to breathe, when to turn, when to cool the edges. They moved like dancers who had practiced forever. Days became weeks. Each night they tried, and each morning they examined failures. Yet slowly, the glass grew clearer, the surface smoother, until one evening the molten globe settled into a disk of near otherworldly purity. No bubble, no ripple, only liquid light solidified. A city in peril. Before the stranger returned, a storm unlike any in memory swept toward Vitrina. Black clouds towered like mountains. Lightning forked across the sea. Fishermen whispered of an approaching night tide. A tempest said to swallow whole harbors. As the city braced, the stranger reappeared. Rain streaked his cloak, but his eyes shone with urgency. "The lens," he said. Alaric presented the finished disc, but the man shook his head. "The lighthouse, take me there. Tonight." Despite their confusion, Maris and her father followed him through streets whipped by wind. Waves already crashed against the seawall, sending up curtains of salt spray. Inside the ancient lighthouse, the stranger revealed his purpose. From a hidden compartment, he produced a brass framework of gears and mirrors. "The night tide rises when the stars align," he said. "Only concentrated starlight can break the storm's heart." He set the lens into the mechanism and turned to Maris. "I need steady hands. Will you help?" Harnessing the stars. The gale howled like a living beast as they climbed the final spiral. Maris felt the tower sway under the wind's fury. At the top, the stranger adjusted the brass framework, aligning it with a gap in the roiling clouds. "Hold it here," he commanded. Maris gripped the mechanism. Cold rain stung her face. Through the lens, a single brilliant star pierced the darkness, a pinprick of eternity. The lens gathered the light, focused it into a narrow beam that shot across the raging sky. Below, the sea writhed. The beam cut through cloud and storm, and for a heartbeat, the world glowed silver blue. Then, with a roar like 1,000 collapsing waves, the black wall of the night tide shuddered and began to retreat. The stranger lowered his hood. He was younger than Maris expected, with eyes the color of deep water. "The city is safe," he said softly. "Thanks to you." Departures and discoveries. By morning the storm had passed, leaving the streets glittering with rain and dawnlight. The stranger offered Alaric a final pouch of silver. "I am a scholar of the heavens," he explained. "This lens will help guide travelers who follow the stars. But last night showed me that some journeys require more than science. They require courage." He turned to Maris. "Your hands shaped the lens, but your spirit saved the city. If you ever wish to see the observatories beyond these seas, seek me at the Celestial College of Orion." With that he was gone, a figure fading into sunrise. A new beginning. In the days that followed, word of the miracle spread. Sailors spoke of a light that pierced the storm. Merchants praised the glassmaker whose craft had guided the heavens. Commissions poured in fine mirrors, instruments for scholars, art pieces once again prized. Yet Maris felt a new stirring. Each night she climbed the lighthouse alone and gazed at the stars. The lens she had shaped now guided ships safely into harbor. But it also reminded her of the invitation, of a wider sky waiting beyond the familiar. Her father noticed her quiet yearning. One evening, he handed her a small satchel. Inside lay tools for glassmaking, wrapped in linen. "Your path may lead beyond Vitrina," he said, "but wherever you go, our craft goes with you." Maris embraced him, the scent of furnace ash and sea salt mingling in her memory. She knew she would leave soon, not out of restlessness, but out of promise. Epilogue: The Starfarer's Lens. Months later, travelers in distant ports spoke of a young artisan who carried a single flawless lens and a heart full of starlight. Some said she worked alongside astronomers, shaping glass to capture the music of the spheres. Others claimed she charted unknown constellations, her name whispered in observatories from Orion to the far northern reaches. In Vitrina, the lighthouse still gleamed each night, its beam sharp and unwavering, and those who looked closely swore they could see, in the heart of that light, the reflection of a girl who had once harnessed the stars and discovered her own endless horizon.